I'd like to call the meeting to order, the Board of Leavenworth County Commissioners, and I'd like to invite everyone to stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to start with a moment of silence and would like to ask everyone to remember Bob Weber, passing of his mother last night, and his family. Roll call, we'll start with Commissioner Stevens. Here. Commissioner Shimke.
Here.
And Commissioner Smith is present. Commissioner Cause.
Here.
And Commissioner Culberson.
Here.
All commissioners are present. I'd like to open up the public comment portion of our meeting. Anyone from the public wishing to speak, please come forward and state your name. Seeing none, we'll close public comment. We'll move on to administrative business. Mr. Lawfrey.
Stephanie, I guess
Yeah,
we'll let her take over here. Thanks.
I have Lisa with United Way here. I just wanted to get a quick picture with all of you and Lisa to show what
okay.
County
All right.
employees contributed to the United Way campaign.
Okay. And how do you want this to go?
I don't
You
know.
want
You
us
guys
to-
want to kind of stand here and stand
we
for the
do.
check?
You tell us.
All right, stand in front of
Okay.
here and Vicki.
Vicki can hand the check off.
Big check. I know, that's why.
Well, it's an envelope.
You guys have a big printer. We wanted it.
I should have plotted it out.
This way, or
Yeah, you probably ought to stand in front of me.
in front? Yeah. Church side would. Okay.
All right, everybody. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stephanie.
Yeah, thank you.
I do.
One time, that's one time.
Any other administrative business this time? Okay.
You have some?
I got some. Just, Commissioner, we've been getting a lot of requests to be at different things, especially the recent one with the League of Women Voters that want us to speak. I think there should only be 2 of us go at a time because of the open meetings. Does commissioners have a preference who goes?
Venus on
Do I have that paper? It's on a Saturday, the 7th, I believe.
Yes.
December 7th on Saturday at the First Presbyterian Church.
Well, I had planned on being there.
Okay.
gonna be
Commissioner
at-
Cos will attend?
I'm gonna be out of town that weekend. So.
Okay.
I never know.
Okay.
Saturday.
I just haven't looked at the time. Was it a lunch?
Is it 10 o'clock?
No, it's
usually?
10.
Yeah.
No, 2 to 4.
2 to 4, that's right,
2 to
they changed
4.
it this time, 2 to 4.
I might be able to.
Okay. All right, then we'll just say Commissioner Shemke and Commissioner Cos, and if either one of you have to cancel, you can let me know. Am I being overcautious here?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, good morning. Do I need to repeat my usual admonitions, or do you recall the risk of having more than 2 of you appear is, of course, an open meeting violation. I would also caution you, while attending such public forums, to please not reference specific cases you have before you in which you act in a quasi-judicial capacity, and basically avoid any steps that might give rise to the presumption that you've prejudged any issue.
Well,
Other than the benefit and welfare of
the only thing that
citizens.
concerns me is want elected officials to discuss what they hope to accomplish in the upcoming year. And I figure for all there, We're going to be talking about county business. And
Commissioner, at that point, I think you become perilously close to the conduct of an open meeting. And if you wish to list it on your agenda and set it up as a meeting, you could do so. But absent that, I would caution you against that.
Okay. Well, I'm just looking at the rules of COMA. It's basically discussion of discussion of business or affairs of that body or agency.
That is
and
correct.
it's also interactive communication, too. I just don't feel comfortable with more than 2 commissioners at a function, whether we're talking or not.
So let me ask you a question. I agree, this function very definitely fits into the possible violation, but we had a dinner that was a 4-H dinner recently, and person I was with and me were over on this side of the room, and the other commissioners were on the other side of the room. There would have been no, discussion of county business at such an
I
event.
left.
So,
It wasn't
to
on
me,
our agenda, though.
that's a different, is there a difference in your mind in the 2 events?
Commissioners, as Commissioner Smith stated, the touchstone issues is more than a quorum, are more than 2 of you present, and is there an interactive discussion of county business? If those 2 criteria are met, then you're in open meeting, and you would need to schedule that and give a notice of it, and it would need to be open to the public. If the 5 of you happen to be in Walmart at the same time, unless you started discussing county business more than 2 of you, that's not an open meeting. Attending a dinner such as that where there is no scheduled or anticipated interactive discussion of county business or any interactive discussion of county business does not give rise to a violation.
But it still needs to be on the agenda.
I would
think.
suggest, in abundance of caution, you place it on your agenda and, again, be admonished to avoid any interactive discussion of county business.
But even if it was out of abundance of caution, but even if it wasn't on the agenda, if we were just attending and the 2 criteria you mentioned were not met, there would be no
No,
violation.
there's no violation.
With the holiday tomorrow, I'd strongly recommend avoiding Walmart.
I was going to say, how do you go to
Thank you, Chad, I appreciate that. I did that in advance, yeah.
how do you go to Walmart without discussing county business?
Well, Walmart's a fine institution and provides much-needed jobs and revenue to the community, but aside from that, I think you understand the parameters of when you attend
right.
functions as to what to avoid.
Yeah,
And then it's basically a gathering of the majority of the body of this board.
Commissioner,
it's-
again,
Seems like we should, again, if we expect there to be more than 2 in attendance to any event, we definitely put it on the agenda, whether or not there's anticipation of any discussion or presentation.
fully concur, Commissioner, and of course, the meeting would then need to be open to the public without charge.
Right. And like I said, this one specifically is asking us to
Right.
talk about.
Right. No, I agree.
So, all right, and then we got the Extension Council dinner on the 9th, I believe.
I sent my reservation.
Did you just fill out a form?
Yep,
What day was it, remember?
the 9th,
The 9th? Okay,
6 o'clock, I think.
all right. And who will be attending that?
It's a Monday, isn't it?
Well, maybe we should just put that one on the
Okay,
agenda.
okay. Any other commissioners know if they'd be able to attend? It's at Swynn's Barn, I believe.
I probably will.
Okay, all right.
No, don't do it probably, do a commitment, commit. Commit, Commissioner.
I just found out about it, so I got to look at the calendar.
Okay.
If you don't go, I will. How's that?
I'm pretty sure I'll be able to.
As long as we put it on the agenda then, and we don't discuss business, we're okay.
Okay. All right, so there'll be at least 2 commissioners there.
What night is it? What
It's
night is
a
it?
Monday.
It's a Monday night,
It's a
I
Monday
believe.
night.
It's not the first Monday, is it?
Second.
Monday.
Probably be fine.
Okay, and then while we're on
Easton
Colma
City,
again,
Town hall, everything,
Um,
first Monday.
commissioners all got a letter from a residence, we'll just say on 158th Street, that said, only one of us responded to their letter. There is no email, there is no phone number, so I guess we'd have to respond. So I guess what I'm asking is, do we have a lot of these out there where people have contacted individual commissioners and And how do we handle that?
Commissioners, if you receive communications from a constituent, if it is addressed to you specifically, by all means, feel free to respond, and that would be appropriate. If you receive communications that are directed to the board as a body, my suggestion would be provided to Ms. Matseder. Copies can be provided to the other members of the board, and that matter can then be addressed by the board, either in executive session if appropriate, or open session if appropriate. If you are invited to conduct what could be deemed a serial meeting, I would suggest you notify the person that because of the Kansas Open Meetings Act, that their request is more appropriately to be conducted in open session of the board, and possibly a meeting to be scheduled on the agenda of the board through Ms. Matseder and your county administrator.
Okay? And I think that covers the coma issues, I believe. Oh, I know, another thing. When we was at the conference, I won, don't know how, my name was drawn to win a $50 gift card from K-Camp. I don't remember registering for this or anything, so it may have came off of a conference registration. But anyways, does the commission have its preference who I give this card to, any organization? Whether we do Alliance Against Family Violence, any recommendations?
Alliance Against Family Violence.
Are we good with that?
Yeah. Works for me.
Because I don't want this card. I was there on county business. I would just soon donate it to something in the county. It's a $50 gift card to Amazon. So.
Very good.
Are we in consensus to donate?
Sure, that works. What,
County, am I?
Well, I don't know if the United Way would be able to find directed use of that gift card. I believe the board has already expressed public and financial support for the Alliance Against Family Violence. Your proposed donation of that card to them would be appropriate.
Okay. Well, I'm open to any other suggestions. I'm not keeping it. So.
Alliance sounds good.
And not other commissioners or staff either. Or a newspaper maybe, huh?
I claimed it for him.
Okay. Yeah, I wasn't even there, and it said you had to be present to win, but that's all right. But
So while we're on that, since we're talking legal things, what are the rules as far as if, let's say Commissioner Smith had won a $50 gift card, and are there rules regarding whether he should retain that or not?
Our policy allows for up to $50, anything like that if you win it. Drawings actually, games of chance drawings are somewhat excluded, but $50 is typical for any kind of a gift from an outside agency. However, if we happen to be in negotiations with those agencies, then no gifts would be allowable. So if somebody had a contract consideration in front of you and they send you a $50 gift card or a box of chocolates, you should immediately return them or bring them in.
And that's a written policy?
That is in our
Absolutely.
policy, yes, sir.
Okay. Any further?
Just don't.
yeah, that's what I said. I didn't want it.
Yeah, easiest way.
As long as it goes. Okay, is that it for any administrative? Oh, Commissioners all got a letter from Leavenworth County Humane Society.
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't quite understand the little note that was attached, though,
Oh,
entirely.
I know, but
The one that
This-
references the cities
Yeah.
coming out of
I was-
pocket, but the county not.
But I
Well-
thought we pay the bill for the animals that are picked up.
the sheriff does. The
Right.
And
sheriff,
then we have,
Exactly. So I was
And then
confusing
we-
to me as well.
we brought on help, with worked
Mhm.
with the animal control person to kind of bring that
I
forward.
think she's probably going to try to get on the agenda to be one of our special.
well,
Comes up every
I guess it needs to, at budget time.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be something that had to be decided at budget time. I thought it was
Right.
taken care of, with the sheriff doing the animal control.
Right, that's kind of what I thought, that we had kind of stepped up in that regard, but
But
Does-
anyways,
Does anybody know their new address? Is there a new address on there?
Mhm.
Have they? What
Yeah, it's
they're on
It's Gilman.
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 Gilman Road.
I know, I
Gilman,
visited the
K7.
Gilman facility, but I haven't.
It's the old nursery, right?
Right.
I haven't been out to the new facility yet. That's on my list of things to do.
They've done a good job.
Okay.
From the outside, anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's good. All right. So we're completed, administrative business complete. Then we'll move on to the consent agenda. Commissioners had a chance to look at everything on the consent agenda. Any questions or concerns?
Nope.
I just had two quick questions as far as payments. One was,
Okay.
and Mr. Van Paris can probably help me with this. If memory serves, you had set a number of years ago, kind of a threshold for these, court-appointed attorneys. And I saw there was a expert witness fee, and my guess is, depending on what type of subject matter expert it is, those fees may change, or how many days ultimately they have to serve. I just kind of wondering how that comes about, or have we thought about placing any type of fixed cost to it? It just looked like a lot, but then again, if they were here for 3 or 4 days, then maybe not, I don't know.
Commissioners, the county has very limited funding for those court-appointed attorney services that are required to be provided to you by Kansas law. I do monitor these expenses. The courts are aware of the limitations the county has. I believe there's an effort to minimize these expenses. I do from time to time either question the expenses or attempt to negotiate them. That's an ongoing process. When it comes to expert fees, they have to be authorized by a judge.
Okay.
And they are examined.
Okay. And then the other one I had was just, it was, so we had another dust abatement payment, but I thought abatement 1 had already been completed and paid. So maybe I was just confused that had already been settled months ago.
A lot of those projects have retainage, and until they're completely inspected or completed, there will be a retainage. Is there a specific one that you can?
Well, it was on page 7, it's for 194 grand, so that was just the retainage on that project?
Well, that one's probably not retainage, but that's probably just like a portion of the billing, so.
Like milestone billing, and so,
Right,
okay.
Correct.
And then it just reminded me, what is our process? I know we've discussed having kind of these post-job review meetings. I don't know if that's a work session, just in general. Anytime we complete a big project, I thought the idea was we would sit down with Public Works and kind of talk about, again, the good, the bad, the ugly with any.
Yeah, that is something that Lauren will be scheduling as we wrap up projects, that we come in and have like an after-action review type thing, where we can discuss how the project went, where it ended up,
Sure.
and whatnot. Yeah, that is something we're planning on scheduling. I think at this time she's planning on doing as part of her quarterly report.
Okay. Just want to make sure we were still moving forward with that.
Yep.
That was all I had.
Any other questions on the consent agenda from any of the commissioners?
I just have one question for Mr. Van Paris. I've had two constituents, well, one's a friend of a constituent and one is a constituent and I just want to put it on the record as far as if your car is damaged on a county road, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if your car is damaged, the state of Kansas has very limited liability because we encourage construction of roads but when county liability would accrue would be when we knew about a repair that was needed and that did not take place in a timely manner. Am I stating the law correctly?
Commissioners, these situations are fact dependent. However, the general rule with respect to liability for road defects or damage to vehicles caused by alleged road defects are the municipality, in this case the county, must have prior notice of the defect and must have had more than reasonable time to cure the defect before liability attaches. And the basis for that is it would be impossible for any municipality, and particularly the county, to look at the number of miles of roadway surface that you have to monitor to ensure that as the instant that a pothole develops, you fix it. That's not reasonable, and the law does not charge you with that responsibility. So again, the issue is prior notice and reasonable time to cure.
Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns with the consent agenda? Then I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the consent agenda. Any further discussions? Voting?
Aye.
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 Abstain?
Aye.
All right. We will move on. Mr. Marlboro.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Larry.
Very festive. Like it.
Nice and bright. Back during our budget hearing, there was discussion about security services for the IS department. That's what I'm bringing before you today, the initial phase one of the security services that we're looking for. I received 4 proposals in all. If you've read my request for board action, I am recommending Converge One be the company that we go with, which is not the low bidder. I assume you'd like to know why I don't want to go with the low bidder. The bid from Raveneye is compelling, but it's very short in verbiage. It doesn't include the detail of the services that they will provide. So while the price was definitely, inducive, I don't feel that we would be guaranteed to get the necessary amount of work that we want to get out of this project, and I don't think we're going to get a second take at it, so I would be remiss to spend $13,000, come back short on what we wanted to achieve. So I was more compelled by the $19,510 proposal because it did outline in more detail exactly what services they would provide during this project. The other 2 proposals were much more expensive than that, and they were even more detailed, included some services that might be nice but weren't necessarily part of what I was really after in this whole project. I think all 4 companies that responded were good companies, and I enjoyed talking to all of their representatives, so I have no doubt that we'd love to do business with them in the future. But as far as this particular project goes, I think we're going to get our best value out of the Converge One proposal. So in my opinion, it is worth the $6,500 more than the low bidder in order to guarantee the outcome that we're looking for.
Well, I agree, because I've spent many years having to use stuff that was low bid. That
And we're
didn't do the
disappointed at the
job.
end.
I mean, worst case scenario, you overpay one time for something, but if you underpay for something, you're stuck with it every day.
Correct, and I don't want to come back next summer in the budget hearing again asking for a similar amount of services for the same thing because, well, we didn't quite get what we were hoping for in our first go, so I'd like to do it again. I don't want to come back and ask twice for the same basic project.
And Converge One is AOS, right?
Yes, they
Yeah,
formerly were AOS.
Yeah, and we've used them
For
plenty
over
of
20
time.
years. They have a long history with us. I gave them a little bit of bonus in my table for that, which really became irrelevant when I looked at the way it all added up. But they have a long history. I know exactly who I'm working with, and that also makes me feel a little more comfortable going forward, too.
And I don't remember any issues with any of our AOS
We
projects.
haven't. They've done a great deal of work for us over the years. ISG had done a good deal of work in the last 3 years with the city of Leavenworth. I don't believe they use Net Standard at all, but I've heard from other people Net Standard does great work as well. Raveneye is relatively new. I don't know of any other people to talk to about them. They're a division of Yellow Dog, which has a good reputation. So all of these companies were good. I was just basing it upon the written proposals and, the value. I think we would get good value out of all 3 of the higher bid ones. It's just, you start looking at your return on investment, bang for your buck, however you want to phrase it. I think we get our best bang for our buck out of Converge One.
And Larry, just to be clear, this is the review, the audit, where they're going to come back and make recommendations or submit a plan, in which case we'll have to decide what we can or cannot implement or execute based on time, budget, all of those things. So
This isn't about fixing any of those problems they
you
identify.
can't fix what you don't know about.
Right. This is pointing out problems or deficiencies or improvements, some of which we may full well be able to fix internally once it's highlighted and brought to our attention. If it's something more advanced that we don't have the skills to take care of, that would be the second part of this project, where I would be coming back probably in a budget process. May or June's going to come around pretty quick. I'll be back in front of the board saying, well, we've got this report. I would like to have some funds to fix these 6 things that were identified through this particular project. So I'd be asking for funds probably in 6 or 7 months from now.
Right, and those will usually come back high, medium, and low. Right.
Hopefully low.
Right, well, and we can prioritize accordingly. So, okay.
Correct.
Yep, makes sense to me.
One thing I would point out is that this is a non-budgeted item, which is why Larry's up here asking. Normally, if it was budgeted, he would be able to, this would be within his authority, but since it was not a budgeted item, he has to come.
Yes, I'm asking for your money.
Oh, now that's a different story.
It's the American way.
Commissioners have any questions on the funding? I'm sure we can handle it.
No, I think it's long overdue.
Then I'll entertain a motion.
It needs to be done.
Then entertain a motion to approve.
I will make a motion to accept the proposal from Converge One for security services in the amount not to exceed $19,510.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Voting?
Aye.
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 Thank you for that. On a
Thank you,
side
Mark.
note, before I disappear, your meeting is not streaming this morning. Like last week, it had a problem getting started, but I kick-started it last week and got it going 10 or so minutes into your meeting. I tried to do the same here. It claims it's streaming, but yet it's not on YouTube right now. So you're going to have some people probably reach out to you saying, why wasn't that meeting streamed? However, this week, I have my backup recording that's going, so I will still be able to get this meeting in its entirety published. It's just going to take a little longer. Last week, I didn't because the week before, you had done your meeting on like Tuesday at 8 a.m. So I had changed the backup recording for a Tuesday at 8 a.m., and then I forgot to change the next week to go back to Wednesdays between 9 and 12. So I
you got
had
an empty room?
empty room of 3 hours of nothing instead of the actual meeting. So I had to use what did stream last week, which was 14 minutes shy of when you started. So I missed public comment and a few things. This week I should have my backup. Hopefully we'll have this resolved before your meeting next Wednesday. I don't know what's going on with it right now,
Okay.
but something's
Thank you.
acting up.
Well, the good news is we've also got another backup in John's here. So
Yeah,
Oh,
we
we
got the
do?
news. You can read about it in the newspaper.
that's right.
Well,
It'll be in the Times.
of course, we've always got John.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right,
Thanks,
thank you, Larry. All right. I'm open the wrong one. There we go. All right, we're ready for buildings and grounds.
Mr. Yocum asked if I'd cover this for him because he is off today. This initiated kind of with the east entrance, and that is that we know there's maintenance that needs to be done to the building. Barron's working on getting it scheduled and budgeted, but Linda Abbott in the clerk's office identified some potential grant funding. She would like to submit the grant request. As part of that, there has to be support from the board that says if we receive the funding, that we'll provide the 50/50 matching, basically. Given that we are looking at this expense 100%, it makes sense for us to try to get the grant funding.
Absolutely.
So that's why
Like
it's
it.
before the board today, is to authorize the matching if we would be fortunate enough to receive the grant.
I think
There's
that's
not
kind of a
much discussion
no-brainer. I
on
don't think
that,
there's
is
much
there?
to discuss, is there?
Entertain a motion then to approve the Heritage Trust Fund grant.
So moved?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the Heritage Trust Fund grant? Voting?
Aye.
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 What's the timeline on them knowing?
It's a state, so it's probably pretty fast.
Well,
My sarcasm.
I know the deadline. I know the deadline is later in December, so I wouldn't expect we would hear anything till
Probably March.
first quarter next year.
But this is part of the CIP anyway, right?
This is already, we're already going to do the work because it's like, with the east, we don't want to wait until stuff starts falling off the roof. So the work is already scheduled, I think, and we have somebody identified. It's just, this gives us an opportunity to maybe get grant funding.
Nope, it's great.
I'm still for putting plywood over the windows so that people see that we're cutting budgets as much as we can.
Except for your window, the one that opens.
Yeah, except that one.
Well, we have to have a fire escape.
Yeah, we got a fire escape.
It's a long jump.
He's got a ladder.
Just 8 feet once the ladder's out.
Anyways, okay, all right. Then we're ready for Public Works. Mr. Greer.
Hey,
How are you
Vince.
today?
Doing good.
Well, Vince?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
I'm here on behalf of Lauren to seek approval for the callback policy and the snow and ice policy that we've gone over. And I think you guys have had copies of that, I believe.
You're good with everything in it?
Yeah, I'm good with,
Okay.
looks like it'll work for us.
Okay. Not as good as we once had, but.
Well,
Baby steps.
Hey, Vince, in the work session, we had mentioned maybe
Well, we'll talk.
needing contract work if we didn't have enough manpower. Say we went over on time, that you're allowed to drive and stuff. Do you think we need to worry about that? I mean, I know you can't predict what the winter's going to be, but
I haven't seen any problems yet. I don't foresee a problem. I think we adjust our time well enough where I don't think we'll run into that. Now, if you get something crazy like we've had way back in the years. that might
09 and 10.
Yeah, exactly, but,
Then you can have commissioners come out.
well, I mean, you can use, exactly. But, from what we've been getting for the last 5, 6, 7 years, I don't see any problem.
okay.
Now, if we're getting
That's kinda
something like
like-
Colorado and everybody's getting, that'd be a whole different story.
I just saw something last night when they're like 23 or 28 inches.
Oh, the prediction?
Yeah, the prediction
one of
for
them
this
said
winter.
37, and the
37.
other said 26.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's
Similar to
the-
last year, I think, it looks like.
I think they draw straws to see who gets to pick high, low, and medium, and each year they just rotate, because there's always one news station will say it's going to be this much, and another one's this much. And the one year we had like 16 inches of snow, I think the forecast was 30-some inches from one of the stations. It's like, yeah, great, good, glad we didn't listen to them.
I'll give
Right,
my
if they ought to do something
prediction.
But see,
They
then
got a
you're
chance to
happy
get it.
because you
Somebody's got a
didn't-
chance, that's right. That's why I think they take turns on who gets to pick high, medium, and low.
What's the Farmer's Almanac say?
Cold.
Every year it's doom and gloom and
It says to wean your calves by the side of the moon and something. Plant your tomatoes at a certain time.
Mr. Smith already asked the question I had, was basically that, it sounds like you were obviously involved with Lauren in creating it, and as long as these terms work for you guys, then.
yeah, like I said, we also talked to the supervisors too, and we all seem to think this will work for us.
Okay.
Works for me.
I'll entertain a motion to approve the emergency callback.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion, second. Any further discussion? Voting.
Aye.
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 I have one more item.
They still need to.
Oh, this is my fault.
Approval of the snow and ice removal policy. Did anybody have any questions of Mr. Greer over this?
No, I think we kind of talked it all out.
Last week.
Last week in the work session.
Got
I
quite a
think
bit
we
of time.
kind
About 4 o'clock, wasn't it?
Yep.
Then I'll entertain a motion to approve it.
of, motion to approve the policy of snow and ice removal.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Voting.
Aye.
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 And I hope you don't need any of these policies
Right.
this year.
Yeah.
And you
They got
have,
more.
Now the other end.
Same here.
you said he had something else?
Yeah, he's got another item.
Yeah, I do. Broom, after chip sealing, generally we can rent a broom, and subdivisions are the problem where we can't sweep the excess chip seal off on our right of way because people mow them, so we get a lot of complaints from there. So generally, we try to rent a broom. Well, this year, all contractors seem to have everything leased up, so we found two places. One place charges $175 an hour, and they sweep it themselves, but they're not readily available. They don't know when they'll be available because all their brooms are leased out. We found another place. They will rent us one. They do have one in, and it's $9,500 a month. We wouldn't need it a month, and they just charge us for the time that we did use it. That's the option. And then Key Equipment is usually who we have rented these from, and they just, of course, a new sweeper's $215,000, so it's a lot of money.
Right.
And they just
Gotta
got
pay a
to,
lot of rent and always have a
That's
new
exactly
machine
right.
and
So I guess the thing, when you need a broom, everybody else needs a broom. So, I mean, I have a lot of complaints out there about these subdivisions, and I just keep telling them, you know, as soon as I get one, we're going to be there. But this is the option we have right now. And the bad thing is, this is the only broom in the 3-state area, and it's in St. Louis.
Vince, have we reached out to even some of our larger local contractors to find out if that's a piece of equipment that they have, and if they do, potentially contract them to do what we would otherwise?
And that's how we reached out to a couple of them. They said they're busy, leaves, most of them are using them for leaves and cleanup is what's going on. And then end of the year contracting, Chris has reached out to a couple of them, and everybody's has them in use right now and don't know when they'll be available. So we pretty much exhausted all we can do right now until one of them comes back. And this company finally got one back, and they're the only ones available right now.
You know, last week we talked about, with the snow removal, setting realistic expectations, and I think some of this is a discussion that happened last year. It's coming up again this year, and that is, as we get more subdivisions, we have more people who are used to and are expecting the streets be like a city street. And a lot of the cities, within 2 weeks after they put down a chip seal, they come and sweep up the excess rock and haul it off, so it's not laying out there. That's typically not how we do it in the county, but these subdivisions, as more folks live in them and come from the cities, they have an expectation that that's what we will do. So this is kind of a new thing. In the past, like Vince said, we just sweep it off the side of the road. Doesn't hurt anything most of the county, but when that's your front yard, we get a few complaints from people about having that rock pushed into their front yard. And so this is where it's come to, basically, is if the expectation is we're going to handle these like city streets, then the reality is we need to get this stuff swept up. It's not just broomed off to the side of the road. It's actually picked up, we put it in a dump truck, and we haul it off. So that's why this has come up this year, and last year was kind of I think last year we swept it off the side of the road and ended up getting complaints about that.
We had to go out. Crews had to go out and rake everything up and clean all the yards up, so, you know, we don't want to get into that again. But, you know, generally in a perfect world with after a chip seal, you chip seal road, you want 4 to 6 hours, you can go in and do a light sweeping, and then through the next week or two, there's going to be more aggregate that's going to come up because that's just what a chip seal does. And then you need to go back and broom it again, so, you know.
So Vince, the one outfit that was $9,500 a month, right?
Yes,
So that's give or take $300 a day.
exactly.
More, but the other one was $150 an hour.
$175 an hour.
$175, and they count every hour that it's gone, so it's 24 hours a day.
They actually come out and operate the.
Oh, that's right, they
machines.
do it in your place,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I was just kind of curious how many days you estimated it would take us, because it sounds like that group that's $9,500 a month would prorate it.
Yeah, well, they said the $175 an hour, they said it's either $175 an hour or $7,000 a week. But they don't have anything available, and they don't know when they'll have anything available.
Right, but the one that was $9,500 a month,
Yes,
they did have a machine, right?
yes.
They were right, so my point was, if it's $300 or some dollars a day, how many days do you guys estimate you'd need it?
The subdivisions we have, I think we could get everything probably a week and a half, probably 2 weeks, somewhere in there.
Do we need to go pick it up?
Yes.
Depending, yeah.
Right?
And take it back.
Yeah, we need to go pick it up, correct?
Exactly, yep,
You have to go to St. Louis to get it?
yep.
That's what,
And like I said, depending on weather too, so,
right.
but you know, if that was, if
So are you
that's an
rec-
option, you know, we're gonna utilize it, you know, even if we had to use it on the weekend to get done what we need to get done, if that's an option, so.
So you're recommending that we go pick up that piece of equipment and,
Well, it's the only one available, and, you know,
I think if you want the streets
Right.
swept, then he is recommending we go get the
Well,
piece
that's
of
what-
equipment. If we're willing to wait, the $175 an hour one probably makes sense.
sooner or later,
But we
it'll
don't
come
know
up.
when they're going to get here.
Right, and then we run into the weather conditions continuing to be.
But they only charge us when they come and sweep, because they're operating it. It's not a $175 an hour for every hour it's sitting there.
Right.
It's $175 an hour when they're operating it. So that's why, and for only a week and
And
a
is that
half.
local then?
Versus us
That
sending
one
somebody
there
to
is,
St.
yes,
Louis
that
back.
one, Ace.
But we're not sure
Ace
when
pipe
it'll be.
cleaner.
Kansas City area?
So if we did delay, would you have, do you have several areas where
We already know what it
Real
is. Yeah.
need, I mean, where there would be a lot of pushback if you delayed.
Well, we get calls every week. We just tell them we're trying to get a broom. As soon as we do, we'll be there. So, I think the people understand this is the busiest time. We tell them this is the busiest time for brooms. As soon as we get one, we'll be out there to get it, so.
Well, can you get it all done in a month? I mean,
Oh,
if you came and got,
Yeah.
yeah.
No problem.
But
I
I'm
think
just-
2 weeks will probably
2
get
weeks?
it done at the most.
Well, I guess, do we wait?
So it's, 4,500, 4,750 if we go to St. Louis and
Plus
bring it back
labor.
and use it over a couple
That's
weeks.
labor.
Right.
Right, but we're going to pay our guys either way.
Either way.
And we have money in our rental budget, so, yeah.
But the other one, at $175 an hour, I just kind of wondered what, even though it's not our labor, again, our labor's fixed, we're paying our folks, what do we estimate it would be if it's going to take them a couple
Way to
weeks?
go get it.
Well,
If that's
I think-
$1,000 a day,
Yeah.
they're going to be 10 grand.
7,000 a week
That's
is
how
what
long
they're
it
gonna
takes.
charge you.
Huh?
7,000 is pretty much is the weekly charge for that. $175 an hour, but that sounds like $7,000 a week is what, if you
And
have
if it
that
takes them
machine a
2
week.
weeks, now
Yeah.
we're 14 grand. Right?
Yes.
So, I don't know. Numbers seem like a day trip to St. Louis to me.
Probably ought to go to St.
That's why I
Louis.
said,
And they're reserving it for us, Joe.
Got a new trailer, so.
Yeah, exactly. So we told them to hold it and we'd let them know Wednesday, so.
I think probably, it sounds to me like we need to send somebody to go pick up
All
the,
right,
Yeah, it sounds like it.
all right, is that your motion?
yes.
And
Okay.
your motion was to?
To,
What was the company then?
This one here is CMW Equipment, St. Louis.
Okay, to pick up a sweeper from CMW in St. Louis in the amount not to exceed $9,500 $9,500 a month.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the street sweeper rental?
Mark, as far as the budget, this is just, how's that going to fit?
It'll come out of their rental budget.
We
They
have-
have a rental line item in their budget for rental equipment.
We have money in the budget still for that.
All right.
Wish Rocky was here, because City of Tonga was talking about trying to find a sweeper a couple months ago. I wonder what he found out. He said there was a shortage.
There is.
They own one, though, I thought. Maybe they don't. Maybe
They
they
Can
don't.
we make another motion
He was
for
looking.
the other 2 weeks?
Yeah.
We lease it back to the cities.
At a premium.
Get our cost to zero.
Yeah, I'm gonna call Rocky and find out
Make a
what they found
contact
out.
and see if they need
2,500 a
it.
week.
I'll share.
But again, Vince, you're pretty confident, again, all things weather permitted, that you could probably do it in 2 weeks versus a month, and they
I'm
would
pretty
credit us.
sure we can, yes.
Right, okay.
Right.
Great.
Okay. Any further discussion? Voting?
Aye.
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 Thank you,
This
Vince.
is drive to St. Louis.
Okay.
See if they can bring back a shoulder machine, too.
Yeah.
And doctor.
Pick one
We can
up
get
on
that.
the way.
Yeah.
We need that. We need that.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Hey,
Thanks,
Thanks,
Vince.
Vince. Okay, do we need to go into executive?
Hey, Vince, I picked you up a pamphlet while we was out there.
You got a present from the conference.
Yeah. it's
Oh, all
not-
right. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I hope you and the guys get to take tomorrow off.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Let's hope it just rains and no snow.
We're ready.
Or no rain and no snow, but if we have to have one or the other, just rain.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Nothing freezing.
All right. Have we got any other business before us other than the executive session?
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I would ask the board consider entertaining a 5-minute executive session to discuss the purposes listed in the proposed motion.
5 minutes, we'll get it?
5 minutes.
I move that the board recess for closed executive meeting for the discussion of a matter involving the legal interests of the county in pending litigation in district court case 2019-21 as justified by KSA 754319B2 for consultation with legal counsel and for the board which would be deemed privileged in the attorney-client relationship, and that the board resume open meeting at 9:55 a.m. in the meeting room of the board. Present in the executive meeting will be Commissioners Culbertson, Kosh, Shimke, Smith, and Steben, Senior County Counselor David Van Paris, and County Administrator Mark Lothry.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Voting.
Aye.
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 Let the record show we have returned to regular session. Topic was limited to the
Announced topic.
announced topic before we went
No
in.
actions.
No decisions were made
No action taken.
and no action taken, so we're returning to regular session. Any other business this time? Commissioners got anything to report? Mr. Stevens?
I went to the Linwood City Council meeting last week, and what else? Oh, having a town hall and potluck dinner at the Linwood Community Center on the 19th of December.
Okay.
So
Did you make the tree lighting in Tongi?
I did not.
Okay. I didn't either. I went to Basers Friday night.
I was in
I went
beautiful
to
Fort
Leavenworth.
Madison, Iowa.
Oh, okay.
I went to Leavenworth's Christmas parade and tree lighting, and it was cold.
Yeah. Anything to add, Commissioner
Well, I
Shimke?
was going to say Lansing hasn't had theirs yet. I plan on attending theirs on Sunday, so.
I was planning on attending that as well. There'll just be two of us then.
Okay. Well, that's a little different deal. You're not going to get up and speak.
Nope.
I might sing.
Ooh, really? All right.
You're gonna
Well, I
sing?
might be there then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, let's see. Last Wednesday, I went to Basehor City Council meeting. Thursday, I went to the Township Board meeting. And the discussion on that was about the rent of the ambulance, the space where the ambulance is, paying rent to the fire department, or to the township. I talked to him about it wasn't a budgeted item, and, we need to work out, if we can work out something to put it in our budget, or we just need to have, I guess, maybe a work session on that. Because it's not budgeted, and it's a complicated deal when it goes to us budget. I mean, we can't enter really into anything right now, I don't believe, into a contract that it's not budgeted for to start at a certain day, can we?
Right, so, yeah, if they wanted us to sign a contract today to start paying rent, even next year, it would be problematic, but if it was the following year, then that is binding a future board. And we haven't even set the budget yet for '21, obviously. So it would need to be handled as part of the budget process, if at all possible.
Okay. But I guess there is some things that we could work out ahead of time, prior to signing any kind of a commitment. I mean, are we all in agreement we can't buy a building or
Right.
build a building for what they want for rent?
Do you think that we could set a meeting, work session, invite them to come so that we can
I
kind of
do.
sit down and just,
At
do you
least
think
a
they'd
couple
have somebody that would
township
come?
board members.
Good. That would help.
Could we do that before in the near future?
And
That
what
way Mr. Miller could be here also.
would be the goal of the work session, just so I could let them know?
To discuss
Discuss how we would
move forward with.
move forward with paying rent there in the future, I guess.
Want that to be maybe part of next year's budget process, or?
Yeah.
I mean, we could definitely have them come in and
Unless
work with us through the
Mr.
budget
Miller
process.
has a windfall.
Because we already have an agreement in place for use of the building.
I
we just
guess
need to
to
work out
amend
the
the
cost.
agreement, I guess.
We
When
just
does it expire? Does it just roll over every year?
Commissioners, it automatically rolls over. I'd have to check to see what the anniversary date is.
I think it just passed.
Has-
It might have in September when they first brought it up.
Has any official proposal been made, or is it only, we think there should be?
They want $1,000. They want $1,000 a month for the ambulance to the fire station. That gives you room and board too. I mean, we couldn't build a building for that.
Sure.
I think we all agree that an ambulance at the fire station is where it belongs with first responders and stuff like that. It's just that, It's unfortunate they didn't come to us
During the,
prior to us nailing the budget down.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we all agree $1,000 a month is no money for an ambulance to be in base or. But anyway, that was the discussion that we had at the meeting. And I went to the tree lighting ceremony in Baser. Big turnout for as cold as it was, and it was miserable.
It was.
Theirs was Friday night.
Yes, those was,
Oh, was that
Leavenworth
right?
was
Okay.
Friday night. It was
All right.
miserably cold.
And then I went to Mid-America Regional Council yesterday. I did not make the budget and personnel, but I made the Board of Directors meeting. And I don't know if commissioners have seen this, the 2020 transportation plan. You can go online, watch the meeting, and give some feedback. So pass that on the back. It's on the website. And the public can also use that. Is it mark.org 2050?
Take a picture of it, put it
Didn't
in
we
the
get a
folder.
link to forward for feedback?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Okay.
But I just want to make
Yeah.
sure everybody does it. And actually, members of the public also
Sure.
can do that.
Maybe we can have that link put on our Facebook.
And that's what we should do.
I think that it has been.
Has been?
Has
I'll
Okay.
check, because that actually came from Stephanie, sent it to me.
Well, then,
sent
yeah,
to you.
it would
Okay,
be.
then it's already
I just
on
haven't
there.
looked.
All right. And let's see, what else? Oh, I know we had talked about a work session with legislatures, and we're going to have that legislative breakfast. Is that what we're going to, is that how we're going to deal with that?
And when is it?
That'd be in,
The
do we have
clerk's
a date yet?
arranging that, so I don't know off the top of my head.
Who's-
The clerk, Janet.
Oh, that's right.
Okay. And
Um,
the public would be invited to that, I'm sure. Okay. So once we get that date nailed down, we'll make all the announcements.
And I'd like to kind of have, if you don't mind, a discussion about, since Christmas falls on a regular meeting date, that we need to kind of figure out the Monday, maybe the Monday before and the Monday after, because then New Year's falls on the following week. So we need to adjust our meeting schedule to meet our meeting
Right.
requirements. So I will be out of town, just FYI, I will be out of town from the 26th until the 5th. But the Monday before, I would be available to meet.
Okay. And that'd be the week of the 16th?
Well, if the
No,
25th,
that's
Monday
the-
would be the 22nd, right?
It would be the 22nd.
Or 23rd.
It would be the 23rd, Monday the 23rd.
Oh, okay, I'm the week before.
Yeah, Monday the 23rd of December, and then maybe, Monday the,
The 24th and 25th are both holidays. for me.
right. That's why I said that might be the,
So either Monday, Thursday, or Friday would
So we're
be.
thinking Monday, the 23rd, and Monday, the 30th.
well, that's up to you. I'm just saying, otherwise, I won't be available for probably 2 weeks of meetings, but if you made it the Monday, then I'd only miss one.
Okay,
And I can make it by phone call.
Does the statute require a weekly meeting?
absolutely.
Both the statute and your charter resolution.
I'm good with whatever day.
So I was just,
Well, not Christmas Day.
right. No, I just, I mean,
I don't have plans.
Mark will be here.
John said he'll be around.
I just think we need to go ahead and set those dates so that we can get all of our,
Okay.
Becky kind of,
Okay.
So you would like to do it on the 2 Mondays?
well, the 2 Mondays, then I would only miss one. If we did it on Thursday or Friday, I would miss two, being here at 2 meetings. I could call in.
Like I said, we got to change the date anyways that week.
I'm just going to be, I thought I'd be back by Friday the following week, but I think I'm going to be won't be landing at KCI until afternoon.
Okay. Well,
I would imagine that regardless of where it is, there probably won't be a lot on the agenda for the week of Christmas.
So I was just trying to remind us that we
All
need
right.
to do that.
Yeah.
We need to get
Yeah,
those
it seems
dates
like
set.
It seems like those Mondays make the most sense, so.
yeah.
Another legal question. Typically, is changing of the date required that we have a vote, or can the chair decide that?
I would suggest it be done by a vote of the board.
That's what you see, is that required, though?
There's no clear law. I could ask for a declaratory judgment action from the board.
You can't never say yes or no.
Work, huh?
That's right, trying to get his fellow
So it's-
attorneys.
I would suggest a vote, Commissioner.
Okay.
He can never say yes or no.
So that's
Yeah,
Monday.
that's why he's a lawyer.
Monday, the 23rd, and Monday, the,
I got it.
I've never heard
Okay,
just
Chad
yes
has
or
the-
just
I'll
no.
make a motion that we move our weekly meeting from December 25th to Monday, December 23rd, and also move the following week, our meeting scheduled for January 1st to Monday, December 30th.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on the meeting date change? Having none, voting?
Aye.
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 Anybody else have anything to report?
I had a couple.
City council meeting or? city
Yeah, I
commission
was
meeting
gonna
last
get to
night,
that.
Mr.
I was
Carlson?
gonna get to that. First, the City of Easton, the gentleman that I was dealing with at FEMA for transferring some of the county FEMA lots to the city, retired, and so I'm dealing with the new people now. So there's a couple lots that are contiguous to the City of Easton. One of them has their water well on it. They're in the county's name, so the city would annex those lots, and then the county could deed those over to the city if FEMA's okay with it. The new people are agreeing to that now, so I'm working on that. One
Is
of
it a
the,
continuation of annexation or is it an island annexation?
it's contiguous,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And also, they want to put solar panels up to offset some of their city energy costs, and so there's some of these lots are in the floodway, and some are in the 100-year floodplain. The rules are different, so I'm working with them on that also to see if they can put pedestal solar panels up.
And is that through a grant, the solar panel?
I don't know. The city didn't tell me whether it was. It kind of sounded like
Sounds
it might be.
could be a
Yeah.
grant.
Another thing, I met with the workforce folks, and we're working on some programs for the homeless on work programs and education programs. Try to get some programs in place for Sister Vicky to help the homeless get on their feet instead of just enabling them to stay somewhere. And then last night I was at the city Leavenworth Council meeting, presented the 152 bridge idea. It went over fairly well, maybe the exception of one commissioner, Pressinger, had some questions about it. But one thing came out of it is they are very much interested in forming or seeing a task force or committee formed for the project, like we did with mental health.
Before they commit any kind of,
Yeah, they said they could write a letter in support, but as far as funds, they would rather see a task force formed first and get into more detail.
and I think City of Lansing wanted more information as well.
Sounds like the same
And
exact
is this just for the
situation.
feasibility part of
The
it?
feasibility part, I think the City of Lansing,
Yeah,
I'm correct, right? Yeah.
Just for the
Wanted-
feasibility part, not for?
Yes, the
Okay,
study.
all right.
so I think that's kind of the next step is.
Maybe you need to put together a group of people to sit down and start discussing what it is you have in mind, what are the options, and what are you looking at?
Similar to what we did for the mental health
Right.
task
Okay.
force, so I think that's the next step.
Just figure out somebody from each municipality and
Mhm.
entity.
Yep, and when I talked to Heather Malarczyk at Fort Leavenworth, she was interested in the same thing. She'd like to be on there too, so.
Okay. You're going to take care of that?
Looks like.
It's your bridge.
Have
Cubby
we had
Bridge.
any formal response? I mean, it sounds like we're getting indirect feedback. Or
I did from
slightly
the-
direct feedback, but I don't know that anything's been officially responded back.
Well, I
City
think
of
they-
Lansing sent
I
me a
think they
couple of
got-
questions.
Right.
Okay.
Just via email, Tim Vandal shared a couple of questions with me, which I responded to. But we haven't had any, like, yay, nay, it sounds great, it sounds bad, or anything.
I think KDOT sent us an email too, didn't they?
Said
Did you
that
get a
they got
copy of
it,
that?
I forwarded it on to the board.
Yeah.
Mid-America Regional Council too.
That they received it, but obviously they have
Haven't said anything about it.
quite a
but
few, I don't
Cav-
remember the language that he used.
Caveats.
It basically, he has to run it up the chain of command.
Right.
I just think that probably that Jeff and Wendell or Chad need to maybe
Get a task force.
get a group
formed.
together and start looking at the different things
Yeah,
before
I-
you do this.
I think it's easy to identify at least one participant from all of the stakeholders that
Mhm.
we've sent letters
Right.
to. I mean, we've been approached by I mean, we hadn't even identified Wyandotte County, and Wyandotte County has reached out to us
Right, so
in
that's why I
interest
said-
and support of, so it's not going to be hard, I think, to put a
Get
task
people on
force
it.
together.
And I think you have Platte.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I think that would be, just to me, to move forward, get together a group of people to meet.
What was the
Start
response from
discussions.
Lansing?
They just had questions.
I mean,
Matt, do you have any?
Seem favorable, or?
He's not going to.
Yes.
I think we're very interested, but Tim has passed along some questions.
Okay.
I'll leave it at that.
All right. And Mid-America Regional Council said they received a letter. They would actually like to come up after the first of the year and have a work session. They really didn't want it to be in a regular meeting. I said, well, we'll just check our schedules.
On the bridge or?
Anything, just Mid-America Regional Council,
You're welcome.
just,
Feedback. and-
right. I don't believe they've been here since all the new commissioners have been here. Have they? Yeah,
I don't think so.
anything?
No.
Okay. So, that's something.
How did the census, did they have the census
No,
deal?
no. Okay. Commissioners have anything else they want to report on? Then we'll adjourn.
Oh, just last thing, just anybody that obviously attended or watches these videos, I know there's a high remote viewership, but just a happy Thanksgiving to everybody. Be safe. There's so many people traveling. Weather's probably not going to be real conducive, so be safe and happy Thanksgiving.
Yep, happy
I
Thanksgiving.
don't see a light on there.
American.
Well, he's got the backup that's going to be uploaded, so
Hey,
if
it's
we do
all-
get some views.
Yeah,
It's less
that's
than
right.
25 days away. You have to remember, Thanksgiving's late this
Right.
year. It's okay to start
Yeah.
doing the
Ho, ho,
Christmas
ho.
thing. Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah.
Do we need a motion to start
I'm going to
Christmas
call you
music
the
today?
Grinch.
I think you adjourned already, Commissioner.
What's that? I missed it.
Well, we're adjourned.